I was having a conversation with a friend of mine and who is a very loving and caring person, sympathetic, empathetic, kind-hearted. And our conversation turned to a friend of hers who I don't know, who she was really concerned about. Because there was a time she really enjoyed talking with this friend, but lately, this friend was, every conversation they had turned to this hurt that happened to her, maybe 17, 27, or 30. I knew it was a 7. I can't remember how many years, but a long time ago. And that it would be a rant about it, and then a pity party. And is a pity party so judgmental? Well, you know, sometimes the truth hurts. You got to call a spade a spade. She was feeling sorry for herself. She was having a pity party about it. And my loving, kind friend was like, I'm sick of talking to her. I don't want to have this conversation anymore. I'm tired of this narrative. And you know, in our world, you don't want to judge or offend or hurt people, which I'm not down with that. I'll be loving and kind. But the truth is the truth, and knowing the truth can set you free. And so this amazing theme, narratives, that John chose, I think is really a good way, or this is the Villa Revised version of our affirmations, which now is the time to put on your big girl, your big boy, your big non-binary, or your big trans panties and move on. It's time to turn the page of our narratives. And so when John began this, he shared a story about this session he was in, and where he said people were in his ear saying all this negative stuff. And so I kind of zoned out for a minute because I'm like, who in the heck is talking to John like that? And who am I? I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, calm down. He was at an event, but again, talking in your ear. And the power of narrative, I don't want to act like, you know, I'm all got it together and narratives don't, you know, the power of narrative put me in a very toxic and unhappy marriage. The narrative was, you know, supported by facts. Like I'd read articles that if a woman, black women don't get married as often as white women. Black women don't have success in long-term relationships. If a black woman's not married by the time she's 50, she'll never get married. And so those things of no one wants to marry you. You're not worthy. And why? Because my father never was a part of my life, had the opportunity to be. And then when I found him in my late 20s, thanks to Lily's dad, he still didn't want to have anything to do with me. And so that rejection set me up. You're not worthy. You're not loved. Men don't want you. And so when I met this young, charming, and when I say young, I say 17 years my junior, charming young man who wanted to get married, I was down because I was 47. Or actually, I guess I met him when I was 46, because we got married when I was 47. But yes, I needed to beat that magic number of 50. The narrative, the story, you're not worthy, men don't love you, you're not valued. That narrative was playing, even though I had discovered New Thought and was learning, you know, going to Agape and at the Spiritual Center, CLB, Center for Spiritual Living, and reading Ernest Holmes and Abraham Hicks. So all that information was coming. You're valued. You're one with the universe. You're a unique expression. You're priceless. But there was a narrative that was my default. And so every red flag of my charming younger husband got overlooked. And then I was annoyed because when I got married, of course, my mother wasn't happy. My daughter wasn't happy. The people I work with wasn't happy, right? Because they could see what I could not. Because as my beliefs were growing, there was that narrative. And luckily, as I grew and began to step into those narratives, I was able to heal, to joyfully release that relationship. And now I'm married to the awesome, wonderful woman. That's right, babe, right? Awesome, wonderful woman that I'm married to today. Part of the challenge with our narratives is that there's a diagnosis versus the prognosis. So Reverend Michael Beckwith would always say the doctor, the psychiatrist, you know, history can make the diagnosis, but the prognosis is up to us. And so this theme, John, awesome. This theme of narratives, John talking to us about flipping the script. And he had a sermon before about what's your default. Is your default your narrative, or is it your beliefs? And then we had that boom, boom, 1-2 punch of Reverend Willa and me, Villa, just talking the truth. Start where you are. Tell the truth. Look at what's going on. And, she said you got to feel it. Acknowledge it. Embrace it. Say, I need help here. And then the universe will bring you everything that you need to get that help, as long as you're like, ain't nothing wrong. So what does this process look like? Of flipping the script, starting where you are, lifting it to heal it. This is from a story of from the New Testament with Master Teacher Jesus. One of the most honest conversations with any religious person that I know of. So the story is, Jesus is in a crowd of people because he's done something amazing again, and everyone's like, oh yeah. And a man comes to him and says, can you heal my boy? He has a demon in him, and he gets all stiff, and he has, what he's saying really is that my son has a tonic-clonic, that's the new word for grand mal seizure, or he has a convulsive seizure, or he has epilepsy, and I want him to be healed. And your disciples, the folks that work for you, couldn't do anything. So if you can, now I know Jesus could have been like, no, he didn't, just say if you can, but he said if you can. And so he says to him, everything is possible for the one who believes. Very similar to the statement that he made to the centurion, who, when he asked Jesus to heal his servant, and Jesus said, well, I'll come to your house and heal him. And he said, no, you're not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy to have you in my house. Just speak the word. He said, let it be done unto you as you believe. So our beliefs, and they're growing and they're evolving. But the question is, again, what is the default? Is it our narrative, or is it our beliefs? And so Jesus, Master Teacher Jesus, says this to this man, and he says, an honest statement. I believe, help my unbelief. And I think that is very true, that everything that is done to us as adults is in accordance with our beliefs, or it's in accordance with our narratives. But if we want to step into our default and make our beliefs our default, we'll begin to live that life. These truths, every need met, abundant health, golden doors of opportunity open, loving, healthy, and empowering, and passionate marriage, relationship, wonderful family interaction, financial flow, abundance overflow. Yes, it's all ours now. And we have it in our lives. If that is our belief, if that is our default, if that is what we are telling ourselves. And so it's not about being perfect, but it's just like that man said. I believe, and those areas where I have unbelief, because I've been hurt, I've been wounded, I've been rejected, I have it so hidden in the dark that when it shows its face, I slam the door as soon as I can. In those areas, my anxiety, my depression, my overeating, my overdrinking, my oversexing, my overdrugging, my, close myself in, I isolate because no one likes me. No, it's because you feel rejected. And that's, so much more, so many more. Check the narrative, flip the script, start where you are, lift it, stop hiding it, bring it forward, lift it to shift it. Where your beliefs are, let those become your default. Let that be where you turn to. And those narratives that are still lift it so the universe can shift it, the universe can heal it. You can see the diagnosis, but I'm going to create a new prognosis. And then turn the page, move forward, walk into your greater yet to be. And so it is.